Like, what's the main thing that what they say broke your shelf? Because I'm thinking, if you give us your reasons for why you left the church, and let's say it's whatever, Nahum, whatever, and we can provide evidence or debunk each reason why you left the church, would you come back?
Okay. Yes. I've always said yes to that question. But where that reasoning requires me to go on faith, not in God, not anything else, where it requires me to make a leap of faith about something that might have happened or a reason that it could have happened instead of what really and I'm not talking about God's miracles. I'm talking about with Joseph Smith. I left because of the historicity that I saw that I could not just put on shelf anymore.
So what's interesting is, let me just pause. I want to address that. So you're saying you left because of historicity that you disagreed with, history that offended you. You realize that any other religion you go to, there's history that could do the same thing. For example, you joined a religion whose very founder left the religion because he didn't believe it was true. So that's like saying Joseph Smith leaves the church and he's like, hey, I lied about the whole thing. It's all true. And me still being a Latter-day Saint. So no matter where you go, you have to justify historicity problems. And by the way, any historicity of Joseph Smith that you find to be offensive, how does any of that make the Book of Mormon any less true? It doesn't.
Okay, let me address your first point.
He says something that offended you. Okay, the Book of Mormon is still undebunkable.
The founder of the Baptist Church didn't claim to be a prophet. So his doctrine, like the doctrine that I believe in today, which has changed, by the way, and I'm willing to admit that, it's not the same as it was when he founded it. Other people took up the mantle. It has changed. I'm okay with where that is because I didn't have someone 200 years ago saying, I'm a prophet. I'm going to tell you how it is. And this is how it is. Here's my gospel. That's not what he said. He produced what he had interpreted. Then he left the religion. And it is what it is today. I'm not basing my belief in God on a prophet. So that's
you're basing it on Paul.
That's that point. You asked a question about
200 years ago, it's null. If it's 2,000 years ago, it's good. Okay.
I mean, sure, that's a really terrible way to put it and doesn't encapsulate at all what I was saying. But
no, but you do have a double standard. Okay.
Which is what?
So take, for example, Peter cut off a guy's ear and denied Christ. So you got some historicity that you have to deal with as far as being a Christian in general. You have Judas, who was, with Christ and then betrayed him. Okay. You have Paul, that he explained that he had some sort of thorn in his side, which we don't know what it is. But we see that there's a history of early Christians in the Bible that had flaws. Okay. Joseph Smith has flaws. All right. Did he murder anybody like Moses? No. Attempted murder like Abraham? No. All right. Well, as far as prophets go, he's doing pretty good. So if you're going to nitpick at, oh, here's a random quote. Oh, he married a 17-year-old. Okay. Do you know how the ages of the wives of the prophets in the Old Testament? Most likely way younger than any of Joseph Smith's wives. So there's another double standard. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and the fact that you say you believe in faith that Paul actually saw Jesus, despite zero evidence for that happening, but you believe that, but you can't believe Joseph Smith. That's another double standard.
Not really. Not when you consider that Joseph Smith's first vision changed at least 4 different times. Were there any
contradictions whatsoever?
It was relayed 3-4 different times.
Were there any contradictions?
Yes. When you say that there's angels, and then you say there's the Father, and then you say there's the Father and the Son. all in different stories. Those are contradictions.
Where does it
Those
contradict?
I've changed my story.
There was no changes.
These are the people that are now. Yes,
No,
there are.
because if
just
you-
because
if
I
you're in a
didn't
car
say
accident-
I no longer.
One of the stories mentions two angels, and one of them mentions one angel outside of the tomb, and certain things about the Roman, it's just contradictions because they don't mention certain things in certain relayments of the story.
That's
right?
a good point.
Right.
I mean, it's contradictory.
Well, no, it's not.
So
Well,
you
I mean,
believe there
Matthew
are contradictions
27
in the Bible?
and Acts 1 regarding Judas is probably completely contradictory, but
Oh, there are definitely contradictions in the Bible. Yes, absolutely.
But you still believe it.
But those are yes, because those are two different people
Then,
and their viewpoints. Joseph Smith wasn't two different people.
but still, there's no contradictions because let's say if you were to get in a car accident and the insurance company says, "Hey, we're not sure if we're going to cover this accident. Can you tell us what happened?" And you're like, "Whoa, okay." And so you try to lay out all the details because this is the insurance company, right? But let's say you have a coworker. You're like, "Yeah, I got in a car accident." But you don't relay all the details to him. You say, "Yeah, this guy came and boom, hit me." You might give him the short version, depending on the context of the scenario, depending on who you're talking to. You're going to leave out certain details, but that doesn't mean you contradicted yourself. How's that any different than the first vision accounts?
Because a car accident doesn't have Jesus, the Father, and two angels.
Sorry,
that's laughable. That's
No, it's
laughable.
not.
no, it's not.
Like
laughable at
it's
all.
laughable.
I
that
made
you're
it-
trying to
Sorry.
equate.
You can't-
You're
you
trying
can't-
to equate
You can't win.
a car crash.
Yeah.
A car crash to me seeing my Savior.
So
Like,
this fallacy you're using is you're trying to compare the content, whereas I'm comparing the overall examples
What's that
of
fallacy
sharing
called?
that story.
What's that fallacy called?
I don't know.
He's explaining
Oh,
it.
okay. Because she just made up
No,
a fallacy.
it's a fallacy, but
No.
he's just explaining how.
So it's also
just explaining the
you just use
flaw in your
another
logic.
fallacy to discredit my
Oh,
accusation of
okay.
you using a fallacy. Okay, listen to me. I'm gonna mute you.
Oh, God.
You just used another fallacy by discrediting my accusation of you using a fallacy simply because I couldn't remember the name of the fallacy is a fallacy. So you're just rattling them off. I can ask ChatGPT.
If I talk right now, is it a fallacy? Is it a
No.
fallacy if
No,
I talk right now?
If
No.
you use faulty
Okay.
logic, it's a fallacy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't
And
have-
anything that
it
doesn't agree with
need
you
a
guys
fancy
is the
name.
faulty
It doesn't need
logic.
a fancy Latin name to be a fallacy. It'd
It
still be
kind
a
of does, because you don't know what you're
Okay.
talking about if you
All
don't
right.
know what fallacy
No,
is.
Let's
kinda
ask what it
doesn't.
is.
You don't need to know the Latin name of a fallacy in order to know the flaw in the logic.
Well, you guys were making me immediately recall from memory where in the Bible it was supposed to match Joseph Smith's.
I didn't say it had to be from memory. I said
feel
you
like-
could look it up.
Oh, okay.
All right. Which fallacy is it when someone tries to compare elements of a...
I'm just curious. So three years ago, a bunch of scientists published a paper in the Texas Journal of Science. 6 different scientists, and they found a bunch of horse bones in the Holocene layer, and it dates to about the time of the Book of Mormon. If they're able to verify that those horse bones are actually from the time of the Book of Mormon, are you coming back to church?
No,
Yeah, I figured.
we didn't even get to that part because we got off on another tangent.
No, I know.
You didn't even let me finish telling you.
Not the point at all. Right.
You guys keep accusing me of going off on tangents, but I never get to finish anything because we've
Yeah,
got
because you
more
keep using
reasons
fallacy. Okay, use the false analogy fallacy. That's what it was called.
Oh, congratulations! You
False
learned something.
equivalence. Yeah, false equivalence is also
Good.
apt.
You learned
Great.
something.
All right. I
No.
did. I love learning.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So the fact that Joseph Smith,
fallacy.
none of his
Interesting.
none of his first vision accounts contradicted. While some included more details than other, they still never contradicted. And then you said, I don't like that because a car crash is not the same as seeing Jesus. I agree. That's the false analogy fallacy. So I ask you again.
You used the fallacy first.
No, you said Oh
No,
my gosh.
no, you used it
I would
first.
How
imagine
did he
a
You
use the
used it
principal would be
fallacy?
first.
smarter than me. So listen,
How did you
I
name the
I
never used the
am
fallacy?
in
fallacy.
every way.
I never
I'm
used the
in every
fallacy.
way smarter than you.
I never used the fallacy. I said that when you're in a car accident, you might retell these stories with different details to different people. And then you said, oh, but that's not the same because Jesus is way different than a car crash. Yes, I know that that's why I used an analogy is because any analogy would be different in its scope. But still, the principle is what I was
That's
comparing.
called a false equivalency.
You used the
You
false
literally,
equivalency.
no, you did,
No,
No,
but
I
you
didn't.
used two unlike things.
Yes, they were alike in the fact
no,
that
he used an
you
analogy.
shared different details of the story. That's what I'm
You drew an
comparing.
analogy.
So, for example, look at this example I said. If I say my hair is white like wool, and somebody says your hair doesn't feel like wool, that's the fallacy. That's the false equivalency fallacy because they're taking from it the comparison of the texture, whereas I was comparing the color. So here with this example of the car accident and Joseph Smith's first vision, I'm comparing that in both stories. You can share different details. That's the
So you don't
comparison.
think
Do you
you don't
understand that
think
when that you don't contradict yourself when you tell the insurance company all the details and then you tell your coworker a few details? Do you realize you did not contradict yourself? You just shared different levels of detail. That's all. There's no contradiction. You can't win.
uh, you just used the difference between Jesus and God and a car crash, but then also likened the difference between color and texture.
No, that was the
And
fallacy.
so,
I was giving you
right,
an example
yes,
of a
it's a
fallacy.
fallacy.
How does
You
someone
used a
pursuing a
fallacy to
doctorate
No,
not
compare.
I didn't.
understand an
You
analogy?
did. Gosh. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to do it one more time. When you have an insurance claim and you give all the details, and then you gave
No,
a
I
few
understand. I'm
details.
telling you
No,
you're
no,
wrong.
here, there's
I'm
no
telling you you're
fallacy
wrong.
here. You're telling me
Yes,
I'm using
there
a
is.
fallacy. What fallacy am I using when I say that sometimes when you tell a story to some person and tell a story to somebody else, sometimes you might include different details?
Somebody's, I don't know what's going on.
TikTok wanted me to
Somebody's
verify
phone
that I
bill.
was still here. So, what fallacy am I using when I say when you tell a story to some person, you might include certain details, and when you include a story to somebody else, you might include different details or omit certain details to this person? Just like what
You
Joseph Smith
extended
did.
the analogy beyond its intended point of comparison.
I'm not comparing those elements that I extended.
What is? Sorry, J Gap. Can you identify the point of comparison? What is the comparison?
He is claiming that because he just omitted details that he said previously, that it's not a contradiction.
No, that's okay. That didn't answer my question in the least. What was the point of comparison? What specifically is he trying to compare?
This is an easy question.
In the car crash? In the car crash?
Yes, in the analogy he just gave 5 seconds ago.
Color and texture is what he said.
No,
The car
in the
crash.
car crash. Try again.
The details that he gave one person versus the details he gave another.
So, what is the point of comparison exactly?
The details he gave one person versus the details he
Right.
gave
So
another.
the audience changes, and so the
Okay.
details you might share change.
So glad you said that. Why would you tell one person that you saw angels and the next person you saw Jesus and God? Like, are you serious?
Yes.
In
Because I
each
do
of
it
those
all the time.
discussions-
Are
no,
you
no,
look,
are
J
you
Gap,
serious?
J Gap.
Listen.
Hold up. In the same on all of them, he's mentioning he sees the Lord, and in some of them, he's mentioning angels. Okay, cool. Again, yeah, in a car accident, it would be pertinent to tell all the details to the insurance company, and you're probably going to share some different details when you go to the doctor because you're going to get treated for the car accident. You're probably going to share different details in a casual conversation with someone, friend, where it's less formal. They're all important because it's all related to details that are affecting your life. Why is your car destroyed? Why do you have back pain? What's wrong with your arm?
I have an
You know,
idea. Can
obviously
we
that's
just
going to
act
have
this out?
pertinence to either a conversation with a
Can we
friend,
just act this
conversation
out?
with your doctor,
Like,
conversation with the insurance company.
if I said, I have something great to tell you, Jim, I saw two angels that came to me in a grove and told me that I am going to be the restorative tool that brings the gospel back to
I don't
the
know why
earth.
what this
Two
is
angels
relevant to
told
Joseph
me.
Smith.
Two angels.
Joseph Smith never
Yeah, that's
claimed
not-
two angels told me. Why are you using that example?
Okay, or one angel. What? However many
No, he
angels.
didn't
I
say
don't
one
care.
angel.
You don't even know what he said. Look,
All he said.
But that doesn't change.
okay.